Well, more palette talk. Excuse the intermittent sounds from building across the street. I either don't have the right light or the right sound. It's always something. Okay, so let's go back to this just to look at real quick. My master palette. And this is my studio palette. It's the one I use all the time. I keep it to my left or to my right, vertically. And these are the places where I put my paint. Okay, I think I can point this up on this one. I noticed it on other videos. It looks like there's paint down in here, but let's just say this is not paint, this is pigment, okay? That's what's up here. When you add water to it and mix them up, after you sit down to paint and you mix it up so that you have some paint down here. Actually, that is paint down there, but not this stuff. Don't squeeze this down into the bottom. It looks like it's there, but it isn't. Maybe if I turn it this way, it would show. Yeah. So this is what's left from when I mixed water up with it. But this then is pure pigment, or pure pigment as it comes from the tube, and you don't mix it all up and get it all wet and gooey every time. So there are those. These trays also here are on a slant. You see they're deeper here than they are here. So extra colors I put up in there. And then these are actually deeper and as deep as this, but all the way around. So those are on a slant. And then these are a bowl shape. So again, you can put your color up around the edge, wet it up, and let water run down in there. And when you come back to paint on it, you just wet it up. Although if you leave it on the floor like I do, you have to take the cat hair out. Don't leave your palette on the floor around animals, by the way. They'll eat it, and these are not, these colors are not your non-toxic brand. Anyway, so that's my big professional palette. I also have a small travel palette. And by the way, I found this today. This is my key as to what colors are in this, in case I have it put away for a while. This is my small travel palette. Okay, see the difference in the size here. And in my small travel palette, I have little wells that have a little bit of a curve here, so I can put my color up there, and when I'm ready to paint, put the water down in there and make it. It has this at the end here, which is so that you can hold it when you're in the field as a palette. Okay, take this back. This is waxed paper. Again, this is my field palette, so it's also inside a grocery bag to keep it from leaking. But when I pick it up to go home from painting away from here, I can also just take my cloth and kind of dry these, but still I put them inside there. So again, this is something strange here. This is some foxing on here, and I've got to look up and see. I'm afraid that might be my hooker screen, but I've never seen it do that before. I haven't used this for a while. But anyway, no, there's my hooker screen right there. I'm not sure what that one is. And somewhere in my stuff is another little 3x5 like card like this that matches this one. Anyway, here are all the paints. They're dry. They're ready to go. They've been sitting like this in the cupboard for a while. This one, the pigment ran down into there when it shouldn't have. But it's all set up, and that's what a small travel palette looks like. But still, I use good-sized brushes and a paper, you know, at least this big. I'm not working on little papers and doing this kind of stuff. So this is still bigger than those pocket palettes. Okay, let's see. I see some pieces rolling around, and it is so expensive that if you got pieces rolling around, you just put them back where they came from and wet them up and use them. Okay, so there are two kinds of palettes. Now, both of these cost a bit. It took me a long time to get this one, and it took much longer than that to get that one. So, the price of art supplies can be very intimidating. And you save a long time for the one that you want, and you get a special one. So these are these nice little watercolors. I'm going to turn them this way too, because I think I am recording this upside down just because of the table and where the light is. I'm not going to use any of these, okay? But these are the colors that come in the set that comes from Michael's, the Artist's Loft, student grade stuff. So I'm going to load up a palette here, but these are the kind of palettes that I used for years. I did my whole set of tarot cards and a whole lot of things just on a special little plate that had an A on it here that I found at the Salvation Army in Long Beach. I had it for years. This one, okay, is one of mine. It's got a chip out of it, so this could be a good palette because you can load it up around here. Well, you can get 10 on there, and if you're careful, you could get a dozen colors, and you put them up here. This is on a slant, so again, when you go up here with water, it's going to run down into here, but it's not going to run back up into there. And then you can have your colors down in here and your mixing tray, and you can just kind of clean it out with your cloth from time to time if you need to. I don't, as you know, as you can see. I like to keep my colors mixed up. And then this is a slightly larger one, which would be better, but it has no chips in it. I'm using it. Okay, it's worn, but it's one of my wonderful plates from Taiwan. But this one has a chip out of it, so it could be a palette. I was telling you that. You ask somebody if they have any old plates, make sure that they're actually an old plate. Don't take one. This is a great palette, and I'm going to use it for these. This has a big chip out of it. This is a 12-inch dinner plate. Let's put that chip where? Over there. Okay. All right, so now I am going to load this up and let these colors dry so that they're good to go. And I'm simply going to put all of them out all the way around so I can get a good look at them. Oh, what's this one? Huh. Sorry. Okay. Copper. I wonder what I took out. Okay, I got a copper one here that I decided would go well there. I'm no, I'm not missing one. Okay, so I'm not going to be using the copper. These are metallic watercolors, and they actually are watercolors, so that's nice. I still need to test them more and see if they lift right away. So from here on, although sometimes in an emergency, for a beginner, try not to use white, okay? Don't use black. Okay, so just going to take these all the way around here like this. And this is a lot of pigment. It's going to make a lot of paint. You don't have to put much out. All right, that's plenty. You can always put more there. And then, and when you see how expensive individual tube watercolors are, oh, now that's how sometimes I wind up with colors down in the bottoms of the wells. Okay, so I'm not going to put much of that out. I'm going to stay away from it. And I have 3 reds here. Woo! Vermilion, isn't that a pretty one? I have here an orange yellow. I don't think I'm going to put it out. Well, I probably should just to test it, but okay. All right, yellow ochre. This one I can feel is dry. I'm going to get it as hot. Oh, that's a nice yellow, isn't it? Okay. I'm only going to use a tiny, tiny bit of this lemon yellow. This set just has these 2 yellows in it. There's a set of 36 colors, which is, this one's a 24 color set. It's the same. This set of ones that you're not going to use is exactly the same, and you have more of these regular colors, and you've got another yellow in there. So I'm just going to use the tiniest bit of that because this is the kids' watercolors. Well, you know what? I do need this. No, I do have a dab of orange. I have a dab of that orange right here, and I'm going to use it for just the swatches. Okay, now here's a nice light green or yellow green. Well, I don't think I'll be using that one much. It's pretty acidic looking. Here's a nice sap green. So you can see my these are in here really tight, which is good. Sap green and viridian. And viridian is kind of a chemical green. I don't use it. Use my Hooker's green on everything. But I want to have these because these are the ones I'm using for teaching. Oh, it looks like Hooker's green. Oh, that's nice. Look at that. Again, these are from Michael's, and I think they're like $12 or something for the set. It's very inexpensive for watercolors. Or maybe they're $15. So whatever it is, it's not much. Cerulean blue. You can kind of feel when they're coming out the tube whether they're going to be goopy or not. Oh, doesn't that look pretty? And here we have Prussian blue. Oh my, look at that. Probably I would use a lot of that one with a lot of water. Alrighty, and here's our ultramarine blue. That's what we've been using for mixing. We've been using, I think we used this one, but this one I think I prefer a little. Crimson and scarlet. The scarlet's a little bit orangey. Okay. So anyway, and so the red, that lemon yellow, and this ultramarine are the three that we've been using to do our as our primaries. Now we know how to mix all the colors. And we know which ones the primaries are. You know, this is backwards to where I usually have my colors on the color wheel the way I arrange it. It's probably not good for our brains to do that. Okay. Then I have violet and burnt sienna. I'm putting my burnt sienna up here by my reds. I'd actually put it by my yellows. Burnt sienna. Whoops. Oh, yeah, that's right. Burnt sienna. And burnt umber. Now, we did mixing colors from the primaries, and we did mixing browns. Here are some browns that you get. And you get some more browns in that other set, which I would prefer. These are very nice. You don't need black, because if you need to use black, you mix it from a dark brown and a dark blue. These two. It's going to give you a real nice black. I don't want to start with a black in the middle, but we'll do that along the way. So here's my palette, and I'm going to let it dry. And, well, I'll just dab a tiny bit of this orange in here. Well, okay, I'll put it here. Remember how I talked about having extra colors? Yeah. So that'll be over there. Like here, this is my red, yellow, blue, and my ochre, and my red earth iron oxide. And my greens fit into the category of extra colors. These are variations on the primaries and a couple of neutrals. And these are also extra colors. So I'm putting that outside of the circle. And the next time I load it up, I'd like to load it with the yellows down here going like so around to the purple. But that's fine for a first try. Okay, so I'm going to let it dry and not do any more than that. The important thing was getting the palette talk and talking about getting a palette for a very nice palette. This is porcelain. It's beautiful porcelain. Look in the chip. It's very, very fine. You can hardly tell the difference between it and the glazed. So I'm going to tilt it this way because of this one. See if I can get that run up closer to that and let this sit for a while. The sky has been fun recently. It's been like not really anything. So I did a bunch of imaginary skies, and they are really garish next to looking at the real one. So that's something we're going to do. Practice washes. Let's see, do the color mixing. And then I think a project in color theory. Once people all have their individual color wheels mixed, then we can go for 4 different color combinations in a geometric form. And that's going to be a different kind of watercolor. There will be washes, but they'll be controlled and even in many cases to fill the whole spaces. Woo! On my wrist. All right. There. This is awfully long, but that's it. Palettes and loading them up. This little palette is like $1.29 or something at Michael's, or $1.17, or it's $1 at the dollar store. And it holds 6 colors, and it gives you these little mixing surfaces, and this is fine, especially if you're just working on something small on your desktop, and you don't need to limit it to your 3 primaries. You can put what you like in, your other ones that you like. But these are really great for learning mixing and learning loading up and stuff. Okay, and again, all these need is to have water added, and we're off to the races again. So, no need to mix up a beautiful purple again. It's already mixed. Or you could be lazy and use this one, I guess, yeah. And it's also interesting to take these and put a dot of them next to the ones on your color wheel to see how out of the tube compares. All right, whoops.